Hello, everyone, and welcome to another brand new episode of Topic.
Thunder from down under.
There you go. No one's taking their clothes off on this show, but we can be the thunder from down under.
Yeah, I'll do it. Let's do it. Come on, shirts off.
Nope. You go ahead, man. Knock
How much
yourself
money
out.
would it take you to do a Thunder from Down Under type show?
Probably about 5 million, I would imagine.
5 million, even
yeah,
though
5
let's just say, all right, it's not
All right.
going to be taped.
Mm-hmm.
It is just for the people in the room, and we'll call it like 100-seater.
Do we take the phones? Everyone's phones?
Yeah, it's not going to be taped.
No,
It's
no, no.
just for
Do we
the
take
100 people in
people's
the room.
phones?
Yeah,
wanna-
whatever
okay.
it takes. There's not going to be any physical evidence
All right.
of this
million.
having happened.
I'll go down to 1 million. I'll go down to 1 million.
Wow.
I can invest
pretty
Bitcoin
steep.
in that. It is steep because I would be so embarrassed to do it. The psychological trauma of me doing it for 100 people might take me a while to recover from. So, have you seen the lawsuits that have pumped out on this? I know we're going to answer some questions here from the fans, but have you seen these Rust lawsuits? Speaking of which, like everybody's filing lawsuits now.
I know.
I was 5 feet away from the person and I have psychological trauma. And it's like, you know what? The inner city people should be able to sue the city every day for the shit they endure in inner city life. Give me a fucking break, man.
I know. I heard Gloria Allred on the radio yesterday representing somebody and be like, oh, okay. Whoever retained her, I no longer believe the validity of your argument just because she is nothing more to me than I like to stand in front of cameras.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if she's a good lawyer or not. I know she has a name and she can get your argument presented before reporters, but beyond that, I have no idea if she's good or not.
Yeah, yeah, and she seems to chase the high profile cases and whatever, and so but to me, it was just I'm just like, come on, guys, cut this shit out. Like, it's just insane. And it's a low budget film. How much money do they think they're gonna get from a film like this with the insurance that it had? It had only $6 million of insurance, so. How much money you think you're going to get out of this after taxes, after you pay the lawyers, after everything? How much money do you think you're going to clear? Is it worth it? And no one's going to want to fucking work with you again. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Shouldn't that money go to the two victims?
It should go to their families. 1,000,000%, Matt Nost. You're absolutely right.
So if any money is going to come out of this, definitely the woman that was killed, and also the director that's going to, have medical bills and whatever else.
Yeah.
I think they should, be first in line before all these other individuals.
Right.
And they're like, the armorer is saying that they were sabotaged, that there was some conspiracy.
Yeah. She's trying to get them to save herself. Yeah.
Yeah. Taken out. And like, wow, this is just getting weirder and weirder and weirder. And because then Alec Baldwin was producer and star of this.
Yeah.
Then certain individuals within society that don't really give two shits about movies because of his political leanings are now attacking him on that front.
Yeah.
And it's just a whole mess.
Yeah. It's a massive mess. It's amazing how dysfunctional these people are off the set, claiming that the set was not dysfunctional. It's like, no, it seems pretty clear this was a fucked up set on so many levels. So, I mean, this idea that it wasn't is kind of disappearing. I think the more lawsuits that come out. So crazy stuff. Anyway, we're here to answer questions from you all, the fans and patrons who are at the $5 and above level get a chance to send in questions, thoughts, and comments for Matt and I to answer. We do not look at these ahead of time, and we answer them on the show. We rarely do not answer one. But we reserve the right to possibly not answer one if it ever offends us or crosses a line. But that rarely happens. So we're excited to jump into this. Matt, I think you're first this week.
I am, and I will open with our patrons. You need to start sending in some questions because we are it's nearing. I realize it's holiday season and everybody's getting busy and all that jazz. Take 2 seconds and rifle off. I mean, we have enough for this week, next week, the week after, possibly the week after that. But still, we don't like to see the numbers this low just in case.
Yeah, exactly. Start sending in your stuff.
So get them in there. We love to see them.
Mm-hmm.
All right, first one comes from Dale Varley. It says, gents, the NBA unveiled the mixtape city uniforms for 28 NBA teams. Ooh. Utah and Phoenix opted to retain their jerseys from last year. This week, November 1st. These jerseys are supposed to take things from the team's history and have it represented in the uniform, as most teams have things from uniforms from different eras mixed together. I feel that there are some shorts that make the uniform, and the jersey alone isn't great.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts and least favorites of the crop? I think that the Nets, Lakers, and Sixers are the cream of the crop. The best part of my Celtics unis are the shorts. Thanks, Dale Varley.
I have to look these up. I have not had a chance to look these up. Have you?
I saw them when they were announced, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Okay.
I mean, I know. Yeah, the Suns they just ran it back.
Okay. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah, so
Atlanta, no. The Celtics, interesting. Why do they all look like they're spray painted on the wall? Like they've got that kind of like, I don't know.
Depends on which ones.
Oh, sorry. The Nets one looks like it's got some kind of white glitter on it or concrete kind of paint on it. The Celtics one as well. Wait, it's not my computer. No, it's not my computer.
No,
I want to make sure.
I don't see that on the one I'm looking at.
Yeah, I'm looking on the NBA.com official release, and they all look like they're a little, a little like dusty. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe that's just how they want to use it. Oh man, they're using the old school Houston lines. Ugh, I hated that uniform.
It's brutal.
Ugh,
that's I hate the Nets. I think that's. Yeah. I don't want to go back to the New Jersey look. Trash.
Yeah,
it is. Do
you like your
people
Bulls?
Are hating on OKC's? I kind of like it. It's simple. It's just OKC all one? White. Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Let me find that one.
On that main picture, it's bottom left. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's clean.
Pretty chill. I like it.
I don't mind Dallas's throwback to their early 90s.
Oh, the Wolves. Oh, they're using the old 90s one. Oh, God.
Yeah, not a fan.
No.
Miami's to me is pretty. I like their other city editions better so far.
Oh, God. Yeah, that it looks like a ransom note. That is not.
And they've been playing in it. They played in it their last game.
Really?
Yeah.
It's ugly. Oh, I dig the Memphis one. I like that kind of. I like the kind of the designs around the areas of the underarms and the neck. I like that kind of that stuff on the seam. I dig that design. Pacers. There's only so much you can do. Oh, the NOLA one looks badass. But then again, they've only been around a few years. So what are we throwing back to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Some of these they just have to kind of make up. I don't mind Cleveland's. It's fine.
Okay.
A nice homage to their original logo. Pacers is a bit of a throwback.
Yeah.
I don't remember the diagonal stripe, but
the design itself though feels like something from the 90s. I remember that. Detlef Schrempf playing it. Rips. I love the Rip City. Gotta say.
I know. I always like Portland's every year. I think theirs is consistently the best.
Maybe my favorite nickname for a city in basketball, Rip City. I love it.
I always love the Rose Garden too. I wish they'd bring that back. I don't mind the Moda Center. I mean, it's better than Crypto.com for Staples. Although I do kind of like just shortening to the Crypt.
That could be fun.
That's fun.
Oof, my wizard.
Just like for a while there, Memphis was in naming rights, I believe, and they were KFC was in the running. So they'd, tonight from the bucket. I kind of like that. It's terrible and fantastic simultaneously, but it obviously never came to fruition.
Sorry about that. Holy shit. Nost. Always making me laugh when I'm drinking shit. Oh my God.
On the bucket? I was looking at the jerseys. Whoa.
No, the bucket is brilliant. It's made me laugh.
I like the bucket. People were clowning on it. I was like, dude, that's not bad compared to, Orlando's former Amway Center.
Oh, yeah.
Which it no longer is, but some of them are just atrocious. And others are like, hey, you know what? You get used to it. Like TD Garden. It's fine.
Remember the old school Washington football team, the Raljon Stadium? Ugh. Named it for his two kids, Ralph and John. It was like, oh, you fucking ridiculous, man.
I do like FedEx Field just because of the alliteration.
Yeah, the alliteration works. I don't disagree with you there.
I mean, if you got to have it, it's not the worst thing in the world.
So let me ask you something, because I'm looking at the NBA.com one. Are they using just the jersey that's in the middle, or are they going to be doing variations? So this is the only jersey they're going to use, the only colors they're going to use. Is that correct?
For the city editions, yeah.
Okay. All right.
And that effect they put on is not on the jerseys themselves. That
Okay. Yeah.
dusty whatever.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Uh,
Sacktowns is it's not bad. The Warriors, I think, is a bust. It's not the worst, but it's a bust to me.
Yeah. I don't like
with
that
the
one,
stripes or the lightning bolts down the side. I actually like the Bucks old one, the Cream City. I think those are better.
Oh yeah, those are nice.
Yeah,
I
like
dig the
those.
Sixers actually. I like the kind of old school Sixers
Okay.
font for the name. So I wish the numbers were thicker. They're a little too thin for me, but I like that Sixers. I like the blue with the red and whites. It's a nice little combo there.
Do you like the striping down the side? If you can
Mhm.
find another picture of it, it goes down the length of the torso and it's oscillating
really?
colors.
Interesting. Okay.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you until then.
What about Toronto? Do you like that fucking the Raptor bouncing the basketball thing? I really hate that actually, but
Really?
yeah, I'm not. I don't know. It's a little.
It's such a
cheesy to
time
me.
capsule.
It is. It really is. Yeah.
So I like it for that. And the gold, that they're the only team with, full on gold like that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let's see. I dig the Knicks, the all black. That's nice.
yeah, it's tough to mess with any of the super classics.
Right. Right.
The Knicks, the Celtics, the Bulls, anybody that basically has not changed
Yeah.
in all these years.
Oh, you don't like the war? You don't like the lightning bolt?
No, I don't like the lightning bolt. I think that's trash. It's pretty trash.
It's too much attention you're drawing to yourself with the. What about the Nuggets and the little the colors that they had in the past? I don't know. I'm on the fence. I mean, I like that the Rubik's Cube design, but I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I like the full where they do the skyline, the really old school. That I'm a big fan of.
Right, right.
With the rainbow, it looks so terrible and yet is fantastic.
Right.
And that was their uniforms for a decent amount of time in their history.
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean, by and large, it's the same as every year. I think most of them are just fine. Some of them are pretty terrible, and a couple you're like, hey, that's cool. I like that. Charlotte's is a nice with the honeycomb at the top. I like the Spurs bringing in the early '90s teal.
You were right about the Dallas. I fucking hate the Dallas one. Oh,
I don't hate the Dallas. Dallas's last year with that spray paint motif was just brutal.
Yeah, that was brutal.
I hate it. That could be the worst jersey I've seen in maybe my lifetime. It was so ugly. And they have to approve of it. Nike comes to them with design ideas.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, yeah, this is good. The kids will love it. Like, what fucking kids?
What about the Chicago? Do you like the cursive there, leaning into the?
Yeah,
top?
it's the old school. Like when Jordan was a rook, there was a cursive Chicago on the jersey.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Funny how he's not in the picture they have here on NBA.com. Interesting. Anyway, good. Yeah.
Maybe they didn't pay for the rights to use his photo.
Hey.
I can't imagine that he has that deal with the league itself, but you never know.
True. Good point. Oh man.
Or maybe just Pippen took so much of a flamethrower at all his old teammates decided to keep Jordan and a few other guys off.
Yeah, because Pippen is prominently placed in this, along with Paxson, which is ironic as hell that Paxson and Rodman, who was there a whopping 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, okay, there's Jordan on the left.
Yeah, way at the bottom, just about to leave the frame. For God's
and the
sake.
top left there, you can see his back.
Where?
Right next to that's Jerry Sloan next to him.
Yeah, look at Jerry. He's bigger than Jordan in these pictures, for God's sakes. Phil Jackson's kind of half his head is barely in the frame. This is terrible for the Bulls. I mean, Phil Jackson and Scotty and Michael need to be prominently placed. Paxson? Fuck Paxson, man. That's ridiculous.
Well, I wonder if I was going to say before he got removed, but he got removed long before this, although he's still affiliated with the team. But if he was still, if it was still Garpax is the brain trust, then that would make a lot more sense.
Might as well put Kerr on there, for God's sake, from the other side, shooting from the other side. What about the Charlotte ones? I kind of like them, and then I'm also kind of nervous because of the aqua design. I dig, but the whole fish scale design at the top.
The honeycomb? Come on.
Yeah, the honeycomb. I'm not a big fan of the honeycomb.
It's on their court, so it ties in a little bit with their court design.
Of course.
But it's the theme of who they are, the Hornets.
Yeah, true. Very true. Yeah. All right.
So,
all right.
It fits in with who they are.
Maybe the Atlanta one is growing on me. Maybe that bright yellow is kind of.
I don't mind it at all.
Yeah. Shit.
So long as they don't go back to a lot of the 90s versions of teams, I found pretty terrible.
Yeah.
The Rockets, being potentially the most egregious to me.
Oof. Oof.
Uh,
What's the worst? Worst NBA.
what are you looking at? Worst
Regardless
jersey of?
from the 1990s.
Let's see. Well, they all rebranded and kind of got Disney-fied because they made the rocket and had like the big stupid grin, like an old Hellfire, but it looks stupid.
So BellyUpSports.com has Utah Jazz at number 5 with the whole like
the skyline, the mountain range,
the snowy mountains, the snowy mountains. The New Jersey Nets is number 4, and that is mirroring the one we're seeing that we just saw that's coming back. The Cavs one with sorry, go ahead. Sorry,
I was going to say last year's was even worse. That powder blue. What is that? Ombre or whatever it's called, where it changes the color as it moves.
Yeah.
That's in the running for worst jersey as well.
They have Cavs at number 3, which is the Cavs with the kind of orange lettering and black lettering, and then the light blue stripe across the.
Oh, the Brad Daugherty era.
Yes.
Mark Price. Yeah. Those were pretty terrible. Forgot about those.
Atlanta Hawks at number 2. I didn't think the Hawks jersey was that bad. And then Rockets number 1, definitely. I don't know. The Pacers, how come the Pacers got away with the stripes, but the Rockets didn't? Do you think it's the color combo? Bless you.
Maybe, or maybe just because that's been the Pacers for so long.
Yeah.
That you just kind of like, that's what the Pacers do. Whereas the Rockets just keep throwing shit against the wall every like 5 to 10 years and completely changed entirely. I didn't mind like when they went to the simplistic red with the white, with the R, and it looks like it's a rocket-ish kind of going upwards. And it's like, all right, that's a clean rebranding.
Right.
But I like the Olajuwon years.
I forgot that Sean. Is that Sean Kemp? Did Kemp play for the Cavaliers? Am I wrong on
that? Yeah. After he got fat, he went to the Cavs.
Yikes! I forgot about that.
He was out of the league shortly thereafter.
This one, Bacon Sports has the Pistons jersey is the worst. The one with the horse on fire above the Pistons.
Pretty terrible.
Yeah,
pretty terrible. Especially when just the simple what they had before was classic, iconic.
Yeah.
It ain't broke. Just you don't need to fix it.
Oh, I forgot how bad that fucking uniform was. Like it just didn't make any sense.
As part of that 90s, we need to appeal to kids, young kids, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of those.
2 tailpipes with fire coming out and a horse on top, of course, horsepower and shit on fire. It's like it's too much. You're doing too much.
It's stupid. It was.
All right. Well, we've spent 18 minutes on that question, or a little bit more on the Russ stuff too. Should we move on?
Let's move
wrap
on.
Up? All right.
Thank you, Dale.
Thank you, Dale. This one comes in from Michael Dyke. He says, I sent in this question about 3 months ago, so if you just haven't gotten to it, please disregard. So here's the original question. Hey, and we'll jump past it if we have read it. Hello, John and Matt. Greetings from Akron, Ohio. Thank you for the endless supply of laughs. Matt, your Charles Bronson is the best. I agree. I'd like to do a whole top 10 with Matt as Charles Bronson. I'm telling you
once again, that appeals to 10 people that actively know who Charles Bronson, and I'm doing an impression of an impression. So
here's what I'll say to you. I think you misjudge our audience. There's a lot of older people than you think.
There are, but then you have to slice that thinner and go in. And how many of those people are active Charles Bronson fans?
That's fair. That's fair. Question: is there a certain scene in a movie that if that's all you saw could? Oof, wow, this is rough. Michael, you resent this one. Did you not re-edit this one when you resent it in? He said, "Let me read the words that are on the page." Is there a certain scene in a movie that if that's all you saw, period, could describe and play out the movie perfectly? So I'm going to jumble that together. Do you think he's saying if there's a certain scene in a movie that if that's all you saw could describe the movie perfectly? And he says, one of mine would be in Tombstone when Johnny Ringo is waiting for Wyatt Earp for a shootout. He has a shit-eating grin on his face like he's going to take him down. And all of a sudden, Doc shows up and that grin goes to panic. And oh my God, what just happened? Another moment is in The Dark Knight, the interrogation room between Joker and Batman. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for all you guys do. And when you start doing live shows again, all I can say is top 10 live in Cleveland. P.S. Those tickets to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or the NFL Hall of Fame are still available if you make it here. Michael D. Dyke. Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to go to the NFL Hall of Fame. No thanks for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Y'all can have that. I'll do the NFL. Matt, is there a scene from a movie that that describes the movie perfect? Like it's the perfect scene in the movie to describe what the movie is all about. Is there anything that leaps to mind?
I am racking my brain to try and think of a single scene that encapsulates an entire movie all in one. So as I'm vamping, if you come up with
Yes,
one,
I will.
jump right in.
Well, Good, Bad, and the Ugly. Certainly the end scene when they're all in the 3-person kind of standoff at the cemetery. That
Okay.
scene pretty much, because that's the whole movie, the entire movie, all 3 of them in a standoff for this treasure. It's the entire movie. In a nutshell.
Sure.
I would also say the scene in Man of Steel when he's learning to fly for the first time. The music, Russell Crowe's voiceover, Henry Cavill like kind of figuring out, and the moving of the
Sure.
everything like that, and he flies off and falls, stumbles, then figures it out. So I think that whole sequence really sums up the movie, because that's what he's trying to do through the whole movie is fly on his own and just kind of appeal to the people there to save them, and also to kind of like carry on the legacy of Krypton.
God, I am racking my brain to come up with like a movie that we don't talk about all that often and be like, oh, this, less talked about Jim. You ever seen this type of, but every movie that keeps cycling through my brain is movies we've talked about a bunch of times.
Right.
Which is not helping me. And now that I'm vamping, it's still utterly escaping me. Like there's too many choices, and yet simultaneously, I can't think of a single one.
What about
old age?
Oh wait, what about White Man Can't Jump? Is there one scene in White Man Can't Jump that sums up that movie?
You know what? The scene where Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson are hustling. It's that former NBA player that plays him, and he pulls out a knife.
Yes.
Once he realizes I'm gonna cut you, and then Billy Hoyle, Woody Harrelson's character, is like, Sydney, you got a wife and kids, and Sydney is still fully in the hustle, and is like, how do you know that? And he goes and stands on the guy with the knife side and be like, you know what? Cut this motherfucker. And just fully committing, but at the same time, he threw Billy, the character of Billy, under the bus because he's only out for himself. Yeah. Ultimately, he is a hustler. Now he's teamed up temporarily with Billy, but that's what that tears Billy apart is Billy's sense of loyalty late in the movie.
Yeah.
To wanting to do one last game because it's going to really help Sydney out because he's in a tough spot, and Sydney doesn't give a shit that it's going to destroy the relationship between Billy and his girl.
Yeah, Rosie Perez.
I couldn't remember Gloria. Yeah, that's a good one. And I think it just gives you it's good humor in it. There's good basketball, and which obviously that movie is does in spades, but it's a nice representation of the two characters and their interaction and how they basically view the world. Billy is actively trying to protect what he assumes is his friend.
Mm-hmm.
And his assumed friend is basically only looking out for himself.
Yeah. I agree with that. Well, see, there you go. You found one. I think it's very good.
But I had to be prompted.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. It's the way it goes.
But all I'm doing in my head is like Godfather and be like, how many times have we talked about the Godfather?
Well, I don't know if there's one scene, because you could argue the opening scene. You could argue the scene with the 5 families where he takes out his vengeance. You could argue the scene with Michael and Apollonia, like that could sum up the film, because it's like the dangers of the life he's chosen.
True.
There's all of that you can play around with. So it's tough to do. But I agree with the choices. Right.
A movie, so to speak.
Absolutely. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there, Matt. We got a little bit of a time constraint on us for this episode of Topic Thunder, but we will definitely be back next week with more of this show. And please, as Matt said earlier, I had to accentuate what he said earlier. Send in more questions, thoughts, and comments. If you're a $5 and above patron, this is one of your perks to get one of your questions answered. And we try to answer all of them. One of your questions answered by us here on the show. You get your name shout out. We read your question and answer it fully, I believe, every single time. Anything else we need to tell them, Matt?
Head over to patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10 if you'd like to join us on Topic Thunder or Boss Hog or any of the stuff that we do, the live shows that we do twice a month. The next one is coming. Let's see, you're hearing this on Thanksgiving Day itself. We are recording tomorrow. So if you are eligible in the Patreon, you'll get an email. And if you're not going out to brave the madness here in the States of Black Friday,
Yeah.
which I don't think I've ever actually done.
Really? Wow.
No. I've had family members that like geared up
Yeah.
for it. We meet up for Thanksgiving. The next day, they're going to wake up early and go out shopping. I never joined them.
I've done that.
I have not.
10 years in a row. I did it at one point. It was madness. Absolute madness.
Yeah, I'd rather pay the extra couple bucks.
Right. And now it's all digital. So you don't even have to leave your house. So it's smart not to. There you go.
But yeah, so join us then. But you can follow the show at Top 10 Show on Instagram and YouTube. It is /the Top 10 Podcast with the number 10. So hit us up and you can follow me at Matt Nost.
And you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram. All right, y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode of Topic Thunder.